Okay, hi everyone, and welcome back in the second type of complex sentences. This type is focusing on adjective clauses, or for some people, they call it a relative clause. Okay, just a quick flash for your memory that a dependent clause, we said that a complex sentence consists of two types of clauses. One of them is dependent and the other one is independent. The dependent clause is the one which uh, which needs a completion, okay? And with the independent clause, it consists or constitutes the complex sentence, okay? The dependent clause here, this is from the previous lesson, joins an independent clause. They usually form a complex sentence. When we join the dependent clause to the independent clause, we usually form the complex sentence. And as we said that it starts with subordinated conjunction, okay? And we mentioned that there are three types of subordinate clauses. One of them is nominal clauses, which we discussed earlier. The second one is adjective clauses, which is the focus of our topic today. And the third one is adverbial clauses. Okay, today we are talking about adjective clause. What's an adjective clause? You know earlier that an adjective is usually a word which describes or modifies a noun. For example, tall building. It gives a trait, okay? It identifies or yeah, a smelly cat, argumentative assistant. This is what we have learned. In some instances, you can see that the adjective can be in a form of a group of words. It is, an adjective can also come in the form of adjective clause. It can come in multi-word adjective. Okay, it, it might come as a multi-word adjective. Begin one. And this multi-word adjective, just like nominal clause, it might consist of or might include a subject and a verb. And usually it modifies the word which it precedes. Okay, or the word that precedes it, sorry. Okay, let's look at the following examples. The carpets that you bought last year have rotten. In this sentence, I have the subject, the carpet, okay? And now we have that you bought last year. This is the clause which gives me more information or identifies the carpet. Okay? And this is why this is the adjective clause. And you see that it always inserted between the subject and the complement or and the verb. Why? Because it always follows the word which it modifies. Okay? And the other one, a person who talks when you wish him to listen. Now, we have a person, it's the subject, who talks when you wish him to listen. This is all the adjective clause. You are describing that person. In a way, in this case, it's still a description for a word, but here it's a group of words which come in the form of a description. And as I said, it has a subject and a verb. Now, I said earlier that usually a subordinate clause is identified with a subordinate conjunction. So we have here three traits for the adjective clause. The first one is that it usually starts the subordinator of this clause is called, it can either be a relative pronoun, okay, or a relative adverb. You'll tell me what's the difference between relative pronoun and a relative adverb. In the relative pronoun, you see that here in this table, relative pronoun, it refers to the subject, who, whom, which, that, and whose. In the relative adverb, it tells me the place, the reason, and the time of the event that happened. In description, I mean, it's not, it doesn't take the position, or I mean, the position of an adverb, rather, it is only describing that noun. For example, here, the rug that I bought is yellow. That I bought, that here is a relative pronoun. Alright, and this word, it relates the information in the adjective clause to the word or to the phrase in the main clause. And in the relative adverb, it links it to the noun which it modifies. Second trait, as I said earlier, it has a subject and a verb. These are what make it a clause. These are, so we'll see shortly, the constituents of an adjective clause. These are what makes it a clause. What is here the subordinator, make is the verb, it is the subject of the adjective clause. Third one is it tells us something about the noun. As I said earlier, these are my shoes that I wear for work. My shoes, these are my shoes, okay, that I wear for work. It tells me, or it gives me information about my shoes. It's describing the purpose, why I use these shoes for. Now, we've got two types of relative clause. Some of them, they have the relative adverb, then the subject, and then a verb. Let's have a look here. Relative in this sentence, the rat that John saw yesterday was in the kitchen earlier. Now, if we focus on that John saw yesterday, it consists, as we said, that we saw yesterday, it's describing the rat. That's why it's an adjective clause. Now, let's see, what does it consist of? It consists of that, which is a relative pronoun. Jack is the subject of the adjective clause, so is the verb of the adjective clause. And as we said, it gives me information about the noun, which is the rat. In some instances, the relative pronoun is the subject of the clause. In a way, you don't need John, for instance. Here, you just have the relative pronoun and the verb. Let's see. The tramp who claimed to have the limp sprinted after the bus. Now, the tramp is the word, and now I'm trying to modify it. Who claimed to have a limp. Who is the relative pronoun. Claimed is the verb. And now, as we mentioned, that it's describing the tramp. But if you look here, you don't have a subject in this sentence or in this clause. That's why we have two types of adjective clause. Some of them have the relative adverb and the subject and the verb, and the others have the relative pronoun, which is the subject of the clause. Next case, we'll have some examples here. The boy whom you saw at the store committed a robbery. Okay, now we are describing the boy. Okay, this adjective clause Let me circle it. Adjective clause, whom you saw at the store. The adjective clause is describing the boy. Right, let's have a look. What does it have? It has a relative pronoun, whom. It has a subject, you. And it has the verb, so. Wow, okay. Now we need to ask ourselves, can this sentence stand alone? Whom you saw at the store? No, it can't stand alone because it needs a completion. That's why it is a dependent clause. Dependent clause, it needs a completion. It needs an independent clause to complete its meaning. Okay, another example. The concert attendants who paid anywhere from $45 to $100 had to wait until the rain is cleared up. Now, the concert attendees, we are trying to describe to the attendees who paid anywhere from $45 to $100. You can see here that this is the adjective clause. It is describing the attendees, concert attendees. Okay, and in this sentence, who is the relative pronoun, paid, and this is the complement of the adjective clause, anywhere from 45 to 100. Who, the relative pronoun, it functions here as the subject of the adjective clause, and we have paid as the verb of the adjective clause. Now, we are moving to the next case in adjective clauses. They are marked and unmarked. Right, here we have two types of adjective clauses. Some of them, the relative pronoun can be omitted. Look, I'm saying that it's a relative pronoun which can be omitted from the adjective clause. And these can be the ones which are marked only with that and which. For example, the carpet which you bought last year have gone moldy. The carpet you bought last year have gone moldy. Here, there is a possibility of deleting which. Same thing with the ones that have that as a relative pronoun. Things that you don't understand, things you don't understand. We have an exception here. It's not always possible to delete the subordinator. When the adjective clause starts with the relative adverb, when, where, and why, this adjective or relative adverb cannot be omitted. We can only, often, most cases, not all the cases, you see, in some cases we can delete or omit the relative pronoun. For example, a person who talks when you wish him to listen. A person, you can't delete who talks when you wish him to listen. Okay? I don't remember a time when words were not dangerous. Now, a time, you are describing a time. You are describing a time saying when words were not dangerous. And you can't delete when. That's why, for example, you wouldn't be able to say, I don't remember a time words were not dangerous. You have to insert when as a relative adverb in this sentence. And as we said that this adjective clause is describing the time. Okay, and when you describe the time, you need to insert a relative adverb which is talking about the time. Now, we have two types of adjective clauses. In this part, we have restrictive and non-restrictive adjective clauses. What's that? For example, we've got many inquiries from students who might ask whether they can or they have to use comma before and after the adjective clause. I mean, they surround their adjective clause by commas. Okay. For example, we have a question here from one of the students. Should I use a comma before adjective clause? The answer is sometimes yes, you use a comma, and sometimes no. So what is the rule that governs me in using the comma or not? We don't use comma if our clause is essential. I mean, if it identifies, specifies, or limit the noun that it modifies. And this is what is called the restrictive clause. In other words, this clause you cannot delete from your sentence because it's essential for the completion of the meaning. The other one is non-restrictive. Non-restrictive, sometimes you just add additional information for your or about your the noun that you are trying to modify. And this way, you can delete the sentence without affecting the meaning of the whole. I mean, you can delete this clause without affecting the meaning of the whole sentence. Let's have a look. Adjective, restrictive adjective clause. The tramp who claimed to have a limp sprinted after the bus. Okay. If I say the tramp sprinted after the bus, now, this is sentence, it needs, you need to explain what is the tramp or to identify the tramp. And that's why this is an essential part of the sentence. And that's why it is a restrictive adjective clause. By turn, we don't need to insert it or to surround it by two commas. Now, the other one, my brother, who claimed to have a limp, sprinted after the bus. Now, we are describing my brother, and you just add additional information about your brother. That's why you surrounded between by two commas. This is additional information which does identify my brother. You see the difference? Just, clarifies. It's an extra information. It's not identifying my brother. Let's have a look at the examples. These girls, who have been friends for years, are all going to the same college. Now, if we try to delete this part, those girls are all going to the same college. Still, the meaning or the sentence is meaningful. Who have been friends for years, you are giving extra information about these girls. That's why this relative clause can be deleted, and that's why it's called non-restrictive. In the next example, we have here the players who are wearing the red uniforms are winning the game. The players, you are here identifying the players. Okay, you are specifying who are the players who are wearing the red uniforms. You are showing other people who are the players or which players you are talking about. That's why you need this information. For example, if you are talking or chatting with your friend, and in this case, this is an essential information for your sentence. And so you cannot delete it from your sentence. That's why it is a restrictive clause. Or for some people, it's an essential clause, and we don't put insert it or we don't put two commas. Next, we have Amanda, who is my best friend, is on the honor roll again. Who is my best friend? You can say Amanda is on the honor roll without who is my best friend. In this case, this is the non-restrictive adjective clause. That's why we put 2 commas before and after it. Okay, next. The oranges, which have been sitting on the table for a week, are starting to look brown. Okay, which have been sitting on the table for a week. This is again a non-restrictive clause, which you can remove because you are just giving an extra explanation for the oranges. Now, let's have a look. Let's try to create a sentence with an adjective clause. For example, if we have 2 independent clauses, dependent and independent clause. For example, we have the house is for sale. I like the house. These are 2 independent clauses, and I'm trying here to make, this is the first step, to make one of them dependent clause. In order to combine these sentences, we need first to choose which one is going to be the independent clause you want to remove, and we will use the second sentence for this example. I like the house, okay? And the third case is to add a relative pronoun or to a relative adverb to the beginning of that clause or that phrase. The house is for sale. That I like the house. As I said, we chose the second one, which is going to be the dependent clause. And I added the relative pronoun that. Now, I need to combine these 2 sentences. You say, my point says, now insert the fragment starting with the relative pronoun or adverb in between the subject and the verb of the first independent clause. The house, because I'm describing the house, that I like the house is for sale. Okay. Now, do I need the house again to say the house that I like the house is for sale? You see the next step? Now, in this particular sentence, the house is the object of the second sentence is redundant. Redundant, I mean repetitive. No need to say it again. So it needs to be removed. The house that I like is for sale. I hope this makes the creation or formulation of adjective clause clearer. Okay, let's have a number of examples here. This is my computer. I use it. Or I use my computer, okay? In other words, my first sentence is going to be, this is my computer. This is going to be my independent clause. I use it. This is going to be the dependent one. And I want to combine them. This is my computer, full stop. That I use it. And then I combine them together saying, this is the computer that I use. This is how I do it. Or this is my computer that I use. It doesn't make difference. Next, this is the singer. He can sing very well. Or we can say the singer can sing very well. We need to combine these together. And this is going to be he can sing very well. Who? We can put the relative pronoun who. This is the singer who can sing very well. You are describing the singer here using the adjective clause. And this adjective clause is introduced by who. The next one, I remember the summer. Full stop. The whole community had a big picnic in the park that summer. Now, as long as I'm talking about summer, my relative adverb is going to be when, because I'm going to describe a time. And the sentence will be, I remember the summer when the whole community had a big picnic in the park. I don't need to say that summer again because this is going to be redundant. I remember the summer when the whole community had a big picnic in the park. Finally, this is the girl. You saw her picture. Okay, as long as I'm having her picture, I'm gonna use whose. Let's see. This is the girl whose picture you saw. Okay? And my relative pronoun whose, I'm talking about the possession of the girl. The possession, I mean that she's possessing the picture. Whose picture? It's of the girl.